Let's start. Today we will see a different and very useful value of the display attribute. In one of our previous tutorials, we learned about the display attribute and its values, inline, and block. The inline value places the HTML UI elements inline, one beside another. Whereas, the block value places the HTML UI elements one below another like a block. Some HTML elements anchor tag and span tag are inline by default. And some HTML elements like paragraph tags and div tags are blocked by default. So we can change their behavior using this display attribute. We can convert an inline element into a block element, and a block element into an inline element. But, there is one problem. The inline value does not allow us to give height and width to an HTML element. Whereas, the block value allows us to give height and width to an HTML element. But, it does not allow other elements to be placed beside it. What if we want both of these things? That means, what if we want an HTML element to be inlined while having height and width values? The solution is inline block value. It is the combination of both inline and block values. It makes an HTML element inline while allowing us to give it a height and width. So let's see how it works. In the body tag, we have some span tags. The span tag is by default inline. On each step, we have two span tags. So these tags would be placed one beside another, in a line. We have given some class names to them, like A, B, and C. We will use these class names to apply CSS to these span tags. In the style tag, we have written the CSS for those span tags. For the span tag with the class name A, we have written the CSS. Here we have set the display attribute to inline, which is actually a default value for the span tag. And then we have provided some height, width, border, color, etc. Since the display value is inline, this span tag will not apply this height and width when we will run this code. Here we have set the display attribute to block. And then we have provided some height, width, border, color, etc. Since the display value is block, this span tag will apply this height and width successfully. But this span tag would be below the other span tag because we have set its display value to block. Here we have set the display attribute to inline block. And then we have provided some height, width, border, color, etc. Since the display value is inline block, this span tag will apply this height and width successfully, and also, this span tag will be placed beside the other span tag in a line. Let's run this code in a browser. As you can see, this span tag is in line with the other span tag, but it does not apply the height and width that we had provided it. This span tag applies the height and width that we had provided, but it is not in line with the other span tag, because we had written its display value as block. So it is placed below the other span tag. This span tag applies the height and width that we had provided, and also, it is in line with the other span tag. Because we had written the display value as inline block. So that's it. That's how you can use the properties of both, the inline and block display attributes, by using the inline block value. Thank you.